Haiku, she cries. And again, haiku, 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 hi. 17 syllables exactly.
Epiphany's blood-stained gifts, transfigured with the hammer of blood-red lies. Illiterate, Brexitian rusty nails hinge Christ pandemic in pain on the Covidian cross. Breeding, screaming echoes, nightmare repeating. Iago raped Judas with Pos greedy pleasure. He tied Judas down. Blood dyed 30 pieces of silver. Ascension's triptych salutes sentinel hinged truth today. Torn purple robes wrapped, purple robes, robes wrapped, rusty nailed marked. Christ's Covidian body carries pandemic home.
Masked bandits roam the streets. That is you, and that is me, the great British summer. The people fly away to Spain in search of a better life for a week or two. The people left at home berate them. How could they be so stupid to go away in a pandemic? UK holidays soar in popularity and triple in price, out of reach for the average Joe who stays at home. I asked a lady in the sandwich shop from behind the Perspex screen how busy she has been as I hover my card over the machine, loose change redundant. Wednesday, the school days merge into the school holidays, where the weekdays blur into the weekends for the parents. Half a bottle of wine waits in the fridge. Cold comforts. Stay at home, go out, anxious eyes scanning for danger in every passing face. Sanitise, sanitise, second wave. Keep your distance, stand on the markers, know your place, wash your hands, repeat, repeat, pause. Mass bandits roam the streets. That is you and that is me, the great British summer.
I was a theoretical astronaut, the best kind to be. Checking ignition, turning engines on in my head, moonbound. But no real space sickness or claustrophobic panic in outer space blackness. No terror of being stuck, floating in the void with no return. And so I'm wondering if likewise, being a theoretical mother is the best kind to be. Happy in expectation and preparation of the perfect nursery, where bears and rabbits with bright fur wait in ordered rows to become real. But there will be no actual red-faced pain, bulging veins, or blood-curdled curses. No sleepless exhaustion, cracked nipples, tears or stains. Just the thought that may remain that one day actually you'll be loved to the moon and back.
Thank you. The poems have all become dirges, but I'm getting to feel many urges to tell a different story of hope and glory where grey skies turn bright blue. The roses will continue to bloom, while nectar flows like honeydew, and all the trees will bend and curtsy continually for me, but especially for you. It's been a terrible phase, but we should be amazed how we humans cope and hope. When the chips are down, just look around and see people rise up and answer the call to make what is, after all, the spirit of life itself. And while many a shelf is empty and bare, they will be refilled, just like our hearts be. Our hearts will be one day, soon. So do not despair. Things will never be the same again. The winds of change are with us to stay. but the entire human spirit will remain, and we will live to fight another day. For whatever we do or say, life goes on. Thank you.
Cinderella, Cinderella lived in squalor in the cellar. Made friends with cats and rats and things, but never wore posh frocks and rings, unlike the ugly sisters, too, who made her cry boo-hoo, boo-hoo. One day an invitation came for Prince's ball. Cind said, "I'm game." The sisters screeched and yelled, "You jest! You're horrible and badly dressed. Yeah, we're the ones the prince must see." And both screeched, "Bet he'll marry me." They laughed and set off for the palace. Cinders thought they were quite callous. She wept, then slept amongst the dirt, then blew her nose upon her skirt, when whoosh, a fairy landed and transformed our Cinders with her wand. She looked a princess through and through, so off she went to palace do. At ball she fairly caused a stir. The prince would only dance with her. Then midnight struck. She gave a gasp and wriggled from the prince's grasp. She legged it, left a shoe behind. Conveniently, the prince did find it, clutched it to his manly chest and said, "I'll wed who this fits best." Next day, the ladies of the land, each hopefully on one leg did stand. But Cinders was the one shoe fit. "I'll wed you if you will permit me," quoth the prince. He spoke that way. Hurrah, hurrah, the wedding day. And so, hearts full of love and laughter, they all lived happily ever after, until... This line is quite the killer. The prince went back to old Camilla.
When I think of you, I think back to the moment I first saw you, a vision in white like an angel, after flying across the air bridge to your heart. As I got closer to you, the pupils of your eyes looked like the black discs of a total eclipse of both the sun and the moon, the light of your eyes behind them like the corona, the pearly halo. I was spellbound, willing to serve you like James in Dinner for One, bringing you morning coffee and giving you a loving massage. The endless hours we spent talking and listening to music, beholding each other for real after 3 months of typing. The shape between your shoes formed a perfect heart as the ground beneath our feet seemed to fall apart as our heads started to spin. We ended weeks of frustration and isolation, living in the lockdown of the strange and deadly virus. The realization of our love was the only vaccine we needed to relinquish our love-starved bodies as we feasted on each other, both of us falling off the bed in the heat of the night, between living out our chapters, between the pink suitcase and the blue robe. We unpacked our love in a game without frontiers and a war without tears, finding a state of bliss in the deep long kiss, in the garden of earthly delights, the most perfect flower. Inside the soft folds I found paradise. Between your strong thighs I felt reborn, cleansed and purified. In the baptism of your fire you anointed me. The little we eat, we can drink, your father's catchphrase. The more we kiss, we can love. Our first actions, whispering louder than words. All our deep long kisses came like the satisfying cloudbursts, saturating a parched desert. You are the flame of my hopes, forever burning bright, the candle-lit wishes that lit all our dishes, raising glass after glass. Now in the book, that's where it ends, but there is actually another verse. In the citadel of beach, my heart melted. In the fortress whose defences held out in the Franco-Prussian War, 150 years or so ago, where peace now reigns. On the green grassy mound of an old watchtower, your spirit guide, the avatar of your soul, seemed to encircle us, a yellow monarch butterfly, symbolising energy, joy and optimism, in the panorama of our dreamscape between France and Germany, under endless skies and playful clouds. Later, in the Peace Garden, we saw splashes of all the colours of God's palette, touches here and there of red, orange, violet and lavender. How can we track and trace the expression of our passion, where human contact is so precious in a world of pain in any language? I want to hold on to you forever and never ever let go, for your love is the cure.
Monsters roam this earth, and we should not mention their name, for infamy in this world of celebrity will become fame, so I will not mention their names. On Saddleworth Moor, the grey skies meet the brown earth and heather. On Saddleworth Moor, they say if you reach out far enough, you can touch heaven. And if you have a hand full of hope, you can swap it for a pocket full of faith. On Saddleworth Moor, sheep graze in warm, soil-spoiled woolen coats, ignorant to their deaths, the piety of man. On Saddleworth Moor, children reach out from shallow peat bog graves, not for gods or prayers, but for mothers. The warmth of their hope, their breast embrace, their freshly made haired linen beds, coal fires, cocoa, burnt toast, fathers, brothers, sisters. Cut to exterior 1966, the backyard of my childhood home, where I asked my mother why didn't God help the little crying girl when she cried out his name time and time again. My mother went inside and cried. I could see her through the veiled net curtain windows. I never asked another woman why a child should die. Cut to the drain that ran past the preaching schools. We watched in disbelief, wondering, as police with an iron hook searched for missing children, and wondered whether the hook would hurt and bruise and cut and bleed. Mothers weep, fathers weep. Cut to Saddleworth Moor. It rains heavy from the precipitation of the sea, each drop in part per millions of the beast I will not name, that they burned and buried at sea. It cascades down over carved out cranny and worn tired hillsides towards the red brick and stone towns, over shallow graves, carrying part per millions parts of the lost children back to their homes. How ironic nature is or isn't on Saddleworth Moor. On Saddleworth Moor, the motorway cuts through, screaming from east to west, west to east, spitting at the grey, sad, sullen sky. Every time that I pass through, this eye mechanical artery of clogged up smog and passing strangers, I'm melancholy in this mist. At times I cry a little to protect myself from screaming. Cut to interior school. Once I watched from the window as a kestrel swooped and killed a sparrow. It devoured it there whole. I watched transfixed in its grip a moment. A child alone in a crowded room, 1966. We overthink. It's self-harm. Cut to Saddleworth Moor. On Saddleworth Moor, moorland fires rage, yet animals run back into the flames and death in preference to our infamous humankind. Cut to coal fires, earth, linen beds, brothers, sisters. Old waiting mothers have died. Old waiting fathers have died. Cut to Saddleworth Moor. On Saddleworth Moor, it rains heavy. On Saddleworth Moor, I once tried to touch the sky, as the missing heartbeats of children trickled by down to empty firesides. Thank you.
Mum, we're going on a day trip to the North York Moors. We're going on the bus. Want to come? The whole day? Much walking? Okay, I'll come. The bus comes in, an elderly one, but it's a double-decker. We must go on top. Up the first step. I park my walker near the door. Gollum-like, I climb the stairs. Front seat's full. Oh, to the back, we'll sit at the back. Oh, this is okay. So what if these seats are right over the wheels? We're going on a Moors adventure. We're going on a double-decker bus. We're on our way. North Bar within, North Bar without. And we leave Beverley behind. The road undulates. We're on a roller coaster ride. We bump and lurch along. A green field and a golden field. The green field is a wavy ocean of potato plants in rows. The golden field is strewn with gold bars of straw. Undulating countryside. So much in Yorkshire undulates. The floors undulate. The roads undulate. The fields of Yorkshire undulate. Wet wang. Wet wang? What's a wang and how did it get wet? Bracing Yorkshire air, the cold air hisses and swirls around our heads and ruffles our hair. It cools our necks and shoulders. The body cools to shivering. It's cold with 2 windows open near the front, but no one likes to say. Jackets back on. Ooh, patchwork fields, like Cornwall, but larger and stitched more delicately with bare, dry stone walls. Dustily busy, a combine harvester makes short work of the now dry wheat. The strong winds of yesterday have worked their magic. Ooh, trees. The dark road winds among the crowding trees, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Out into the open again. Wide, wide open countryside, but where is the sea? There is a far, far horizon, but it's land, lots of land. Yorkshire is much wider than Cornwall. Grain-searching crows peck and bob in the golden stubble fields. Here's another green field. More potatoes. Chips. Chip butters. Chips in curry sauce. Chips with gravy. Pickering. 10 minutes. Passengers, ants in a line, go to the toilet across the road. Off again. Straw rectangular yields to straw cylindrical. Giant golden rolls wait in the fields like racing cars upon the grid. Black hooded drivers perch ready on the tops. Signpost to Helmsley. Lo, he comes with clouds descending. Queen Victoria requested from her new organist in the Queen's private chapel that Helmsley, the old tune, should always be used on Advent Sunday to Lo, he comes, not the new one in Ancient and Modern. From Hymn Tunes and Their Story, over 400 pages cloth-bound, post-free, 5 shillings from Pitman Hart, 20 Paternoster Road, London. Hutton Le Hoe, more people get off, sticks, staffs and backpacks. Trees, 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 then the moors. Purple heather as far as you can see. Royal purple, faded purple. What's this? Cultivation? How green is my Yorkshire valley. Radiant emerald fields reach upwards into the purple velvet of the crown. Moors, moors, moors. Danby, 45 minutes stop. Lowering clothes, rain in the air. Toilet, picnic, museum. Back to Hutton the Hole. Are we all on? Upstairs again. Here we go, up the hill. Back over the moors, distance and heather, heather, purple heather. What is that escarpment? Oh, for binoculars. Everything is so big that it all seems so small. Rain. Beyond the mountainous grey stands lighter grey, diaphanous. No, the diaphanous grey is also mountainous, distant but substantial. Roller coasting, we zoom across the moors, hurrying, scurrying, rattling and banging. No, it's not your walker crashing around. This bus plays its own discordant music. From the top of the bus, as we bump and lurch along, we see with our eyes gold and green interludes, mighty purple chords, and full rolling golden green orchestra. Our ears only hear the discord of the double-decker bus. Far off, a shaft of sunlight breaks through the cloud, illuminates a field of shining green, freshness and freedom. Grey skies. A lone gorse bush stands black against the grey sky. A violin solo. Hutton the Hole. Sheep are on the green, sheep are on the road. They wander through the village, continually nibbling. The grass is greener across the road. And cars slow down for the ambling sheep. Tea room, cafe, pub, walkers, hikers, drinkers. Oh, Rydale Folk Museum, a village through the ages. Lots of walking. My first drive of an electric buggy. I might be tempted sometime. We could survive the apocalypse here. I know the old-fashioned ways with black iron fireplaces and earth closets. I can use the old ovens. But I'd miss my washing machine. It's no joke bending over the old tin bath hour after hour doing the family washing. I remember Mother doing it all day on a Monday. I spent more time with my blacksmith dad. I could get the smithy going and renovate some of the farm implements. Could I still lift the hammer? Somebody else could do the striking. Thrashing machine? We'd figure it out. Last bus home. Upstairs again. Yay, front seats. 5 minutes on, a voice. Where's my backpack? I've left my backpack. From the top of a bus, bumping along, we have seen silent music filling the senses, choral pieces, dark and deep and harmonious, fugues and sonatas, a pictorial pastoral symphony, Beethoven, Bach and Handel, Elgar and a bit of Vivaldi. As the bus lurches home, the music plays on, but the bus only plays Shostakovich. Nearly home. Through villages to the view of Beverley Minster, Molescroft and Wireless Road. From the North York Moors to Istanbul, restaurant, all in one day. Eyüp. The owner of the restaurant comes from the Eyüp district in Istanbul, and his name is Eyüp. Merhaba. Manor Road and the bus station. I creep carefully downstairs. My faithful walker waits for me. One big step for me. Thank you, driver. A truly wonderful day. All from the top of a bus, from the top of a noisy, bumpy, wonderful Moors Explorer double-decker bus. I walk home. The Minster clock that ticks away my life chimes the 3/4, chimes the 4/4 and strikes the 19th hour. I'm home. And my white front door is purple, gold, and green.
Saturday morning breakfasts at Saucepan Vark, walks to the Falcondale Lake and back, concerts so rare in the old hall, I made sure I went to them all. The bus ride to Abereyron, days out at Clanach Eiron and Drefach Velindra woolen mill. The clump of trees on the hill I could see from my window. Like the Tyvee, my memories flow. Thank you.
So cycling's like flying, except it's not as shit. Cycling is an environmentally mode of transport. Told you I hadn't written much. Except the energy used, of course, to manufacture one's bike. Boo. Better walk then in bare feet, eh? Really boring. And then I've put brackets, an expletive, you Trump, close brackets. But cycling is flying, in my honest opinion, and I really love it. I see, I ride, and of course, I learn. Yes, I like the smell of the well as it flashes the nostrils and the throat. Country smells, the perfume of bloom, vegetation, and carrion. Always carrion. This is my ride. I saw 2 buzzards and a red kite. Eh, sir? I turn left, I go straight ahead and reverse and stop. Stop. I stop a lot, and I like stopping a lot. I look, I absorb, and oh, the countryside. It's like 1821 in 2020. But unlike a painting by John Constable, he's pants. I wish I'd said Cézanne. Damn. Anyway, it's hot. I love it. The wind keeps me sane, cool and unbothered. Up and down, down and up. No flat roads on the world much. My mind drifts and I use the grey way. I play games of swerve and avoid the turd, the SUV. It's Rower Road and it's ace. It's not raining. Cycling's like flying, but in my sleep, I perfected a technique for Sainsbury's plastic bags to carry me aloft. It made me laugh. It was a dream. I don't know why, nor give a toss, but sadly, it wasn't into space. I like to dream about going into space. Cycling really is like flying, and a man, I'll love it. Down and up, and so it goes. Up and down, pant and puff. Inhale, exhale, yes. I sat on a bench and ate grapes in this countryside and a boiled egg. I considered the past of my life. I picked at hard soil on the bottom of my shoe, and several cyclists went by. They all said hello as they flew past. Hello, I said, as I say to you. There you go.
He was not but a lad, weren't Tommy? He was just 15. Wanted to do his bit, as he put it. Wanted to be a Marine. Let him go, mother. You don't want to be tied to your apron strings forever, his father was heard to say. But she cried that night, did his mother, when Tommy went away. When he comes back, he'll be going down pit like his father, his mother was heard to say. But she cried that night, did his mother, when Tommy went away. He'd hardly been out at village, but wanted so badly to join the fray, wanted to make a difference, to give everyone peace someday. But she cried that night, did his mother, when Tommy joined the fray. In the report on that cold and frosty morning, they said that Tommy was first into the bloody fray, and he never felt or heard the shell explode as his legs got blown away. He won't be going down pit now like his father, the padre was heard to say. And she cried that night, did his mother, when she heard what he had to say. They said he never felt out. It had been a quick release. He got what he said he wanted. He finally found some peace. Tom was no but a lad, too young to die that way. But he got what he said he wanted. He joined the bloody fray. They said he died a hero, pinned a medal on his chest. Got what he said he wanted. And she cried that night, did his mother, when they laid her only son to rest. Thank you.
There is a song I avoid singing. I think I have control of it, but on low, thick notes, my voice begins to leak. I take it to a room or a garden and sing as I walk around the table or willow tree, keep on singing. I know I am unheard, like the tree that falls in the forest. The song begins to flood my throat, one hand touching wood as I go, the other clears my face of the overflow. Thank you very much.
Who'll be the last man standing? Who'll be the last soul alive on earth when it's all run dry and the lights go out? What will that last breath be worth? And tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, I shall envy the dead, for they shall be safe and smug in their graves, as air turns acid and rain turns red. And flesh shall shrivel and drop from bones. The sins of the father visit the son. We forgive you this day your trespasses, Lord. Oh, God knows what he has done. And when the last great flywheel ceases to turn, and the very last pipeline drips dry, when we can't grow a single almond blossom, and there are no more children to cry. For we gorged on yesterday's sunlight, we raided stores of the next generation, and now we must settle the whole of the debt and pay the price for such dire exploitation. Oh, our glory days are over, boys. It's now just a matter of time. As the vultures circling overhead, watch the last man standing flatline.
I never did get those candles I was out of, those candles I mentioned. Never did go that extra mile, drive to Waitrose or even Wilko, or even the Range. Apparently they never closed, I hear. I avoided online too. I checked it. Those seductive milky glowworms, they're moony calm most evenings, an overture for the get-in or the half, smoke signals for curtain up and opening. I'm longing for those candles. I have agitation, stress from overhead lights. Too harsh! Real truth disguised by these waxy smoothness. They soften wrinkled realities, an essential item. Casting of runes. My life on stage began. Not one please or thank you at the start. There were no initial demands for candles immediately. I didn't choose my lot then or know then that I would assume to light candles all my life. Whenever I fancied them, I landed here, needy, expectant and privileged. And that I would assume to have them, these personal essentials, whenever I fancied them, except for now, when these candles languish on lonely shelves, unlit. Then this realisation rush and note to self, enough of candles. There are those in endless tunnels with no light ahead at all. Enough of my bloody candles.
The world needs billions and trillions more light. I cannot be selfish about mine.
Free in the air, the lethal virus brings its vaporous breath. From shore to shore, it spreads its deadly wings in global death. Night and day, from east to west, north to south, we mask ourselves against its unseen flight from mouth to mouth. Masked and pumping lungs inhale, exhale, breathing and rebreathing, breathing and rebreathing, rebreathed, rebreathing, light-headed, drowsy self-breathing, that claustrophobic, stifled heaving of hot mufflement, moist and stale. We are not free. Now, no unmasked freedom of expression, no social crowds with closely valued touch, no easy mastery of heartache and depression over new normalities, binding clutch of cold repression, unguarded liberty, but sing songs of hope behind the mask. For wings of music, too, may virus carry if breathed unguarded, without regard for social distance meted and measured. The singer, the player of brass, the blower of reeds, the speaker of prose and verse do not ask to have their breathing arts so masked and marred. Their scores, staves, and airy sounds, their scripted syllables and wordy rounds descored, descripted, defaced, curbed, and barred, as performance areas invaluably treasured mould like wasted seeds. Stay singing then, despite the mask's embrace, and soon let no mask curb the need to sing, to declaim, to swell unstemmed with life's affirming ring defiant, however uncertain the story or the tune.
Surges of emotion break upon our shores, drawn from depths and swells long lost, to tear away some more. Maelstrom made of memories, riptides of the past, stand the lives we walk within when someone turns to glass. All footprints lead to yesterday, circling our shores. Like Crusoe on his island, these marks are only yours. But memories aren't driftwood, to be washed away by tide. The other shore may be out of sight, but the timer has two sides. Sand may harm the oyster, memories anguish mind. Pearls can cause such suffering, to be treasured for all time.
It's strange how time can freeze. Not so much completely stand still, because decades have passed. Children have been born, houses lived in, jobs changed, hearts broken and mended. But it can pause, caught in a moment that looks like a reflection of yesterday, yet is very now, very real and tangible. Your smile still manages to light me up, and without even realising is mirrored, inevitably. The sparkle in your eyes is the same. No smile lines can change it. Time only a welcome friend who has gently touched your edges to somehow enhance what was already there. Reminiscing and learning anew are an equal joy. So much to catch up on, to share, and despite the passage of time, still an awful lot in common. Words flow easily, as does laughter, as does silence. I am happy to simply see your smiling eyes, drink you in with quiet joy, and shake my head in wonder. It seems a lifetime ago you were my whole world, then your path went in a different direction to mine. They never really crossed again, only touched in brief exchanges and birthday wishes, until now. Now we are tangled together in a strange closeness while being so far apart. I feel your touch with each look, yet long for your heartbeat against my cheek, your skin against mine, or even just a brief meeting of hands. It's a heady thing, this remembering of souls. I don't know where each of us is walking, or if the path turns unexpectedly away. For now I'm happy just to be, to have you walk alongside me, for however long this paused moment allows.
Days are too short and grey clouds too low to bring light that cheers and warms. Birds hide in evergreen hedges, bunched like fledglings. A persistent squirrel steals from a frosted nut feeder. Blackened flower heads rot on spindly stems, fallen leaves mulching around their feet. Yet delicate shoots form undefeated beneath December snow, resilient, patiently waiting for the breath of a warmer sun. Chilled wasps have lost their drone, heartbeats barely there, buried in soft soil in a diapause that will last all winter. In unused garden sheds, butterflies hang upside down, clinging tightly to life in a suspended torpor. That night, a barely visible moon glimmers faintly through the deep shroud of a starless sky. Bats skit past tall shadows of skeletal trees. Fox eyes, intensely amber, cause prowling cats to shiver. Mittened hand holds gloved hand. Wool-covered heads bow to the superior wind. Hesitant boots negotiate the crazy paving of thin ice coating puddled ways, more sludge than path. Warm breath meets its cold cousin. Earthbound clouds passing from one to another, momentarily masking each red-cheeked face. Cracked lips grimace against the freezing weather. At last, patches of reflected light appear, celebratory reds and greens with splashes of gold wash rain-soaked pavements beside a building bedecked with the flourish of festive joy. Grateful hands take hold of the too-cold latch, quietly open the arched wooden door. Pinched ears find the sharp harmonies and deep bass of "O come all ye faithful," and winter is held at bay. Thank you.
Rooms be too full of memories. Furniture fixed, tables, chairs, just so. Picture postcards on a mantelpiece that hold too much in too little, that you send addressed to your 6-year-old self. Then vases, Meissen, Minton ballerinas gathering dust exactly where they should be. So, open the door. Let air flood in windows like a Friday night, a dragon outside now. Let the bees and butterflies swan by. Feel the dusk clouds swoop a shawl around your shoulders, cold pashmina, grey, white as all your ancestors who sleep with one eye open under ash tree rooted tumuli, knowing smiles between the hillocks, gathering dew on their grass convexities. Clouds so low, your head in them. That is so fine a reality. Owls sparring for space on branches, above the bat-spangled pond in the bullfrog night, then cowslips by the path at dawn, vixen pulling on her gloves in the sunshine of a cloudless day. Put the washing out, see your life change as it takes hold, feel your chest fill, air, you, the dull flatness of a winter spent indoors as the birds get a knees up with the sun. Feathers, fireball, heat behind you. She comes up, red rain meniscus on the green new life of outdoors, and a west walk across the rising land to where the dropped hair hangs, lifeless in the leafless high hawthorn hedge, her ivory teeth conjuring whistles in the wind. Your bare, half-furred ribs, a clacking cage. Oh, little leveret, your lungs so full of air. Thank you.
Only one star followed us. Great-grand's 80th and my 5th coincided on that day in 1964. So we journeyed north by steam train to Whitby. Windows rattled, soot landed like dead stars plucked from the night. Each time someone got on, drafts attacked our faces, fingers, feet. Burniston, Cloughton, Ravenscar, Horsker, names flew by from dark to dark, wiping the window, revealed only one star following. We arrived, feet frozen, to a warm room of rounded faces holding plates. The smell of candied fruit and sherry permeated. I sat on the arm of great-grand's chair as the assembled relatives sang Happy Birthday. Heat from candles warmed our faces as we blew out their lights and made a wish. Thank you very much.